Welcome back to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please rate us on all the podcast platforms. Like, subscribe, comment, share wherever else you're listening, and enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to another episode. We appreciate you coming back as always. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you do listen on Google Podcasts, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Google Podcasts is actually going away. I believe everything is getting integrated into YouTube Music, which might be a pay-for platform. I'm not really sure about that. The only thing I'm sure about is Google Podcasts is going away. Google is killing it off, I think, in mid-June. So if you listen to podcasts there, you might want to switch over to another platform. If you're on Android, you might want to go to like Spotify. Odyssey is another app there. And there's a few more. If you're on Apple, obviously Apple Podcasts is where most people listen to it there. And there's a couple other apps. But if you are using Google Podcasts, you're going to need to find a new platform to listen to us and any of your other podcasts on, because Google Podcasts is going away. Before we start, I want to thank Adam Chubbuck with Team Alpha Charlie of Douglas Realty. It's www.techmd.com. Listen, the real estate market's hot again. Interest rates have come down a little bit. Buyers are trying to take advantage of it, although the Fed just had a meeting the other day. They didn't lower interest rates, but they definitely indicated that they were looking at 3 more interest rate drops by the end of the year. So if you are looking, now might be the time to get in and then refinance your mortgage when the rates go down. Because once the rates go down, generally that means prices are going to go back up or go up faster than they already are. So now might be the best time to get your price locked in, and then you can always refinance your mortgage later. Go talk to Adam. Adam can walk you through that entire process. He'll give you his opinion on where the market's going. He's going to treat your money like it's his money, so that you know you're going to get the best advice you possibly can, because he will tell you if now is not the time to buy. He will wait for your business if the market conditions he think are going to improve. So techmd.com, go talk to Adam and see if now is the right time for you to buy or sell, or if maybe later on this year is the right time. In the real estate area, AI is becoming a very, I don't want to say niche way of looking at real estate. Everyone knows Redfin's been around for a while. Redfin uses AI as it pertains to people looking at houses on the internet. They can kind of predict what you're looking for, and they're going to make those houses on the app and online that much more prominent in your search feed, just like the social media companies do, right? Basically, what they're trying to do with that is they're trying to cut down the number of houses you look at and trying to feed you the ones that they think you want to see. And their idea behind that is that you'll spend less time searching and more time going and looking, right? The problem with that, and we're going to talk about this more in depth, is the AI is only as good as the people programming it. Initially, and I want to get into this because you probably have a better idea than me on this. Because if AI is self-learning, eventually couldn't it overcome the programming bias that it gets?
Yeah, well, that's the hope. But my problem, first of all, I don't trust anything that's AI.
No, me neither. I'm not using any of it. I don't even use ChatGPT.
Yeah, no. And this might be, I don't even want to play with it.
Right.
Like, because my kids were playing with this AI thing, like, what would you look like as a girl, and what would you look like as a, what was your superhero look? So, like, I put my face in it, and it turned me into this cool looking, like, dude, bald head with a beard, but, like, pretty, like, what I'd like to look like if I lost 100 pounds type of deal, and, chiseled jawline, and that looked pretty cool. That's the extent of my AI adventures.
You were thinking it was harder to be sexier than you already are, and then lo and behold, AI comes around.
Yeah. And I just look at it and I think, I can't help but like think about the Terminator and the Matrix, and it's like they predicted the future. And I have buddies like, man, you're paranoid, you're full of crap. And I'm like, where's the logical conclusion end? Do you think that the machines are going to gain sentience and be like, oh, these people are great? People don't even think people are great. People kill each other all the time. We have entire industries devoted to it. In fact, the military-industrial complex is devoted to killing people, right? So that's what you think AI is going to be any different? Like, there's going to be another killing machine. But I can't help but look at it and think, when people are programming it, who are the programmers, right?
Right.
So if you think there is a large portion of people coming out of colleges and universities who think that human activity is going to kill the planet, right? Which the absurdity of all that gets into the fact that they're still insuring waterfront real estate, and all the people who are flying around their private jets thinking that the environment's going to, that we're going to kill the environment and the planet, are still buying waterfront property. They're still banks are still financing it. If it was going to be underwater in 10 years, who would put a 30-year loan on that? Who would insure it?
Right.
But they're all still doing it. But the AI is getting, it's programming, its language, it's learning all of that. So eventually, wouldn't you think that the AI is going to think, people are going to kill the planet. So in order to save people, we need to prevent them from doing that in some way by either shutting down power grids, coal plant, whatever it be that's bad, that it thinks is bad for the environment, or just kill the people.
Yeah. And and at that point, once it gets to that point, the humans are out of control of it, right?
Yeah.
So whatever algorithms it's taught itself, learned, been programmed, whatever it's using at that point to learn and do, if you're on the bad side of that algorithm, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it will come kill you. Now, I don't know if it's like, there was that movie AI, right? Mm-hmm. It had Haley Joel Osment was we're talking like a movie from like back in the 90s, right? It was about a little kid who thought he was real, but he was really a computer. And I think at the end of the movie, they had to kill him off because they were afraid of what he would become.
Yeah. Well, there's also Her with
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Did you end up watching that?
I haven't yet.
Okay. So basically, the idea behind Her, and we already kind of got a feel for this when the COVID stuff happened, and people weren't allowed to go out and see friends and see family in certain parts of this country. They relied more on artificial intelligence for companionship. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like artificial intelligence is like there was a robot there in the house, but it was interacting with the Alexa, the Siri, the Google Assistant, doing the online grocery shopping through that app, right? Like, you could literally tell Alexa you're grocery shopping, like, add this to my list, and it'll deliver groceries, right? Yeah. Like, you didn't have to interact with a human at all. Well, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix, I believe it was back in the early to mid 2000s, I think it came out.
Yeah, maybe 2010s.
Roughly, yeah. It's not that old. And essentially, you could have companionship in a computer that lived in your ear. Mm-hmm. And it talked like a human. And, I mean, so Joaquin Phoenix was the man. The computer was a woman's voice. And the woman's voice, it always complimented him and encouraged him. Then it also cheated on him. So it was a completely human interaction without a human. Mm-hmm. Then eventually he does find human interaction. I mean, but it just kind of shows where movies have kind of predicted where this might go. And I know you're talking about a movie. There's no way. It's fiction. Well, some things aren't always fiction in these movies. Like the person who created the fiction that was the movie could also program a computer to do what that movie did.
Well, and here's the thing. In order to make a movie like that, where essentially it's just Joaquin Phoenix interacting with a computer, if that was just far-fetched fit, like there's nothing interesting about that. What makes that movie interesting is the fact that there's some plausibility to it, right? Because there's no plausibility to the movie. It has to be like far out fantasy. Like, think of the slasher flicks, and you have like my wife was watching one of the Screams, and I'm looking at this movie and like I'm not a big horror film guy, but I'm watching this movie and I'm like, they could have shot this dude like 15 times by now. Like, they could have ended this shit, right?
Right.
And they didn't. And then like the girl stabs him, and it's a stab wound that is very obviously in a lethal place, but somehow the guy, gets back up and then takes the other girl hostage. Like, that dude's dead. That dude bled out 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Right. So to me, that's not interesting to me at all. But something like her, where it's plausible, like, well, now I'm hooked, and I'm thinking, it's plausible and real, like it's really, really real. So, like when Terminator 2 came out, I went to go see that. I think I was between 6th or 7th grade, or I think it was 6th and 7th or 7th grade, somewhere in that neighborhood when Terminator 2 came out. Mm-hmm. So I went to go see it, and Terminator 2 was a big summer blockbuster. So, growing up in the DC area, of course, what do we have every evening time? Thunderstorms come through, and you see the flashes of lightning. And I was convinced that every single one of those were nuclear weapons, going off. And we lived in Rockville at the time. We were only, I don't know if you remember the old ADC maps, the map book of the street maps.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, on those maps, like of the Montgomery County map, it gave you a distance, a radius from the Washington Monument. And our house was only 14 air miles from the Washington Monument. So it was like 14 air miles. And then I, looked up Encyclopedia Britannica that we had, and a nuclear weapon could destroy, the fatal blast zone is 30 miles from this. Like, if it lands, we're done. Like, we're done. I was convinced that was happening. But there was no plausibility to it because none of it existed yet, right? Now, there was no machines. There was no super smart computers that had gained sentience. Well, now there is. So it's got this whole new level of plausibility to it.
Well, and like that computer system from her, it's essentially a dating robot, right? Or a dating AI. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that probably exists. It might be crude, but it exists. 10 years from now, or 15 years from now, it's going to be almost as polished as that movie was.
But then what happens when you take that AI, and there's already real dolls, right? So what happens when you take that AI and you have that AI feeding into a real doll? Or someone in a full haptic suit that their entire life is viewed through VR goggles, and they're wearing this haptic suit, so now they're fucking a computer.
Have you ever seen the movie or read the book Ready Player One?
I have not. Okay.
So Ready Player One, essentially, you have the real world, and it's a real shithole. It's nobody likes living in the real world.
Dystopian hellhole.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's not great.
Right.
Okay. People can still go to work. They still earn money, but it's basically like you got the slums and you got the people that have money. It's the way it always ends up, right? The gap between the two widens.
Kind of like it is now.
Well, yeah, except much wider.
Right. Like there's no us.
Correct. And so this kid's got a shitty home life, and any money he makes, he's putting into basically the metaverse. Like, you put the VR goggles on, and you're now in that world. You're interacting with people. You're playing games. You're earning coins. There's a whole like Bitcoin. Like, there's a whole currency in there. Mm-hmm. It's not Bitcoin in the movie, but there's a currency in the movie.
It's not Bitcoin, but it's Bitcoin.
Pretty much, yeah. And so of all the metaverses that were around, this was the one that won out. So everybody's in there. All the competition's gone. This kid, he's got the goggles, he's got the gloves, and he saved up enough money for the haptic suit. And he's got this weird treadmill thing that you can walk on. You can move side to side, left and right. You're not moving. But the treadmill moves in all directions. So you can walk in any direction. So now you're walking, you're living in this world. And again, yes, it's based on fiction, right? But they have haptic bodysuits. They have Oculus. They've got the headgear. They've got the gloves. Shit, they had the Nintendo fucking Power Glove 20 years ago.
Right.
You don't think someone could modify that to make an actual glove now with haptic feedback? Fuck that. Of course they can.
Yeah.
Like, that shit can exist, which is why, Mark Zuckerberg put a shit ton of cash into the metaverse, and he's not killing that off.
Yeah.
The fucker's selling real estate in it.
You remember when they did that, when they first changed their name to Meta, and they had that weird commercial with all the freaking Gen Z types dancing around, and like there was like the tiger coming out of the jungle and all this. They aired it during the Super Bowl. It was just this weird, like, it was the weirdest commercial. It was dumb, but that's where it was going. Like, these people can create their own world. It's complete escape from reality. I mean, people do it now, and they're not even attached to haptic suits.
Well, I think it was like, Second Life was a thing, or SimCity, like on the PC was a thing.
I played SimCity. SimCity was great. Now,
well, a different SimCity though. Like there was SimCity, like the original where you just built buildings, but there was also SimCity
there was
where
the Sims.
The Sims, that's what it was. Sorry.
And it was like the offshoot of SimCity where people would have these characters. It was like real life role playing, and you'd have these characters, and like you'd have girlfriends, and bang them, and then they'd like you'd have two girlfriends, and one of them's pregnant, and the other one is it was just this, like, who wants to play if I wanted to like play a game where I dealt with like real life problems, I wouldn't play the game. I would just go deal with my actual problems.
Right, do real life, yeah. But because people still don't think AI is like, you can erase AI, you can hit the restart button, right? So any mistakes you make there, or anything you do that would seem foolish here, like 90% of guys aren't going to have a girlfriend and a wife and knock them both up at the same time. Like,
right.
Like they're going to go do that in AI, and as soon as everything shit hits the fucking reset.
Yeah.
Reset. Okay, we'll just clear all this out.
Yeah.
You can't do that in real life.
Like, I don't have the energy for that in real life.
No, I have none.
Not that it's in my heart to do it.
No.
But
I don't want any part of that.
I'm too lazy, and I'm a terrible liar, and I have no game. Like, I can barely keep one woman happy and off my ass. I don't need 2 or 3 or however many others these dudes do, but
I'm happy enough one wants to hang out with me.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have any desire to have another one hang out with
right.
me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I convinced one, which was probably my greatest magic trick, to hang out with me and then marry me.
Yeah.
And then we made 2.
Right.
Which I hope they say, I hope they don't do that with anybody. Like, I don't want you doing any of it. Hashtag girl dad.
Right.
But in that light, like, you can do, like, The Sims is where people went to go be furries.
Yeah.
Well, now they're trying to be furries in real life, and shit's kind of hitting the fan a little bit. The coming out party wasn't what they thought it would be. Yeah. To the point where, like, they try to latch on to the LGB crew, and the LGB crew's like, oh, fuck no. You need to get out. Get rid of your letters from my name. Get my wife's name out your mouth.
Right.
Will Smith and that shit.
So, like, I guess they're trying to attach themselves to the plus, LGBTQIA plus.
Well, anything after the B, LG and B don't want anything to do with the rest of that.
Yeah, or vice versa. But like,
they got what do they do? Plus 2S in front of the LGB. Whew. You put yourself in front of LGB after what they fought. Yeah. They went through some struggles.
Oh yeah.
To allow the T and the rest to be what they are now.
Right, to kind of latch on. And now, like, being a gay dude, it's like, oh, great, you're a gay dude. Like, Normie.
Right. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. And
Oh, you're a gay dude. Good job. You're still part of the patriarchy.
right now you're hated, but we're lesbians. You're manly.
The rest of us
patriarch.
The rest of us oppressors of the patriarchy. You're like, yep, here you are.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Well, remember the old saying when it came to gay marriage? I think gay people should have as much of a right to be miserable as the rest of us. Well, now they're figuring it out.
Like, oh wait, this is what that was. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah. You had 10 years of not having that stigma. Now you're in it.
Having casual, hop from bed to bed and having a great old time. Like living in college.
Well, that was the 80s.
Right, but now
the 90s they got serious.
Right. But now here you are, and you're freaking fat and miserable. 6-pack's gone, bro. And 6-pack gay guy. Now you've got a fat gay guy that lives with you. You've got the gay version of me. Congrats. Like, he let himself go.
This is the bear now.
Right.
was that podcast with Burt Kreischer, the Two Bears, One Cave?
Yeah.
That's what, I don't know if they meant it like that, but that's what it is. They're both two bears.
Right. You could have just run around having fun, but nope. Here you are.
Well, look, more power to you. Yeah, but now you can't bitch when you're now. So now instead of it being the white straight guy who's the only devil, well, white gay dudes and white lesbians. Welcome to being the devil.
Right. You guys are in a freaking Cheerios commercial, an insurance company commercial. You've made it.
You made it. And now everyone hates you as much as they hate us. So hey, welcome to the club.
But I
now you have to get into the don't give a fuck category, where you're just so used to it at this point, where everyone's throwing hate and shade your way.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck it. It's like when they overuse the word fascism or fascist.
Yeah.
And they clearly don't understand the meaning of it. So you're just like, fine, whatever.
Especially like when the party they support is doing actual fascist shit.
Dude, it's
like shutting down railroad strikes and all kinds
it's the weirdest mindfuck I've ever fucking seen. You're going to call another group of people fascists. Well, if Donald Trump gets in office, he's a fascist. He's going to shut down his political opponents. Do you not see what the fuck's going on right now?
You guys are doing that.
Literally doing it. Doing it right now. But this goes back to, and we talked about this like 2-3 years ago. If I look up and the sky is blue, they're going to tell me it's red until I believe it.
Yeah.
And that was straight out of 1984. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Do not believe what your eyes see.
Yeah.
Only believe what the government tells you.
Yep.
And straight up, it was like we were like, look, man, the sky's fucking blue. I can see it's blue. No, it's red. Mm-hmm. It's fucking red. You better believe it's red. If it's not red, you're a fascist.
Yeah, we're going to unperson you.
Yes.
Which is what they did in 1984. And if you haven't read 1984, I highly suggest you should read 1984. You should read Animal Farm. You should read Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, and you should read the Bible. Those books, minus Animal Farm, but 1984, the Communist Manifesto, and the Bible are like the most widely cited and unread books there are. So it's funny how both sides reference 1984. But there's some, like, when you think about, like, in 1984, they talk about unpersoned, right? Well, that's kind of what canceling is.
It's what cancel culture is. Yeah,
they cancel you. You don't exist anymore.
You're not allowed to be part of society.
And it's crazy how the mob jumps on. Like, I shouldn't read the comment section, and I don't read our own comment section. Not that anyone really comments on it, but I don't.
Benny commented with the 1 star.
Right. It's still a rating, though, brother. Thank you.
Would have given a 0 according to him if he could, but that wasn't an option.
Or he could have just not done anything. That would have been a 0.
Could have. Yeah.
But instead, you gave us a +1.
Did. Boosted our rankings. Yeah. Thank you, Benny.
But what they say is they'll say, the unpersoning part, the cancel culture part. It all goes back to it. Like, it's all written down in 1984. Now, 1984 was when it was written the technology was much different.
Yeah.
But they still had the omnipresent screens everywhere with Big Brother watching. Everyone had the screen in their house. So it's kind of where we're at now with everyone watching. But with AI, getting back to that, when does AI start watching? When does the government start employing AI? Well, they already are.
It already is. So think about the companies that are going to write AI. Right now, you've got OpenAI, which is owned by Microsoft. Mm-hmm. You've got whatever the one Google owns, and
that one tanked there.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. ChatGPT, I think, is from OpenAI. I think that's the Microsoft one. I'm not really sure, but the big internet social media companies are probably going to be the ones that write the most popular AI agents out there.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that employ a lot of the engineers, right? And the culture within these companies is probably left-leaning, probably more than left-leaning.
Yeah.
And the only evidence, well, I don't want to say the only evidence, but the evidence we have is what happened with Google. And this was probably, we're recording this 3/21. This episode will go out next Tuesday. So it's going to be I'd say within the last 3 weeks, I think is when it happened. Essentially, you went to the Google AI and you said, and you typed in, create a picture of a white family. And it wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't programmed to be able to do it. It was programmed with a bias against whiteness, whatever we want to call that, right? Which, now, there's two parts to this. One, because the AI is so new, it's probably, the code is within 2 years old, I'd say, at most. A lot of what it's putting out is what it's programmed to put out. Mm-hmm. But AI in itself is supposed to learn from itself, right? So it's supposed to learn other inputs. So once the programming is kind of done, unless someone goes in years later and corrects what it's learned, it should be able to kind of correct itself.
Yeah.
It'll learn what a white family looks like and be able to produce that picture, even though it wasn't programmed to, mm-hmm. right? Or it'll do a proper like Hispanic family or whatever it is. Or it'll have multiple different Hispanic families of different shades and colors and the same way. Basically, it'll be able to create anything, even though it wasn't programmed to believe that this exists. Because it should learn from itself. It should learn from itself and other sources.
Right.
Because once you unleash it on the internet, it should then be able to go to other sources and learn from that. Like, it should be able to scour Wikipedia and pull all that information out. The problem is, though, will it know what's factual in Wikipedia and what's fake? So that's another thing. Like the old statement, well, if it's on the internet, it must be true, right?
Yeah.
Well, if this whole thing's learning comes from the internet, it's going to have to discern what's true versus what's false. And even that can be manipulated. So there's no control mechanism. And even like Elon Musk, Grok, which this dude has the worst naming conventions of anything I've ever fucking seen. Switch Twitter to X. Dude, it's been a year. Everyone still calls it fucking Twitter. It's still twitter.fucking.com.
Yeah.
Hey, asshole. Change the name back.
Yeah.
All right? I'm sorry. Like, it didn't work out for you.
Yeah. And some people will say, like, oh, I X'd it.
Really? And you look at them like you
didn't.
You fell for the... Yeah.
You tweet.
You fell for the
Twitter.
rename. Like, how hard are you sucking Elon Musk dick that you just called it I X'd it?
Yeah.
And fuck you.
He was Xing. Huh? Like, whenever I see, go for something different this time. For everyone wondering, we were just drinking Angel's Envy.
Did you kill that one?
Yeah.
Angel's Envy? I haven't even sipped it yet.
Yeah.
I was waiting. I didn't even see it go down. I didn't even see you toss it back.
But
what did you think of the Angel's Envy? Because we've done this one before, and we thought it was good.
So I drank. Since I switched over to drinking it neat and doing some other things, my tastes are changing when it comes to my bourbon. Mm-hmm. I like a cinnamon type. I like some sweetness. I almost want to be like a bourbony hot tamale. I want some hot tamale in there, and without going like the Fireball. That stuff's crap. But it was kind of the flavor, it was kind of empty.
It is
not. It wasn't a whole lot to it.
You're correct. It's bland to me.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't much of a flavor. It's just unoffensive.
Yeah.
It doesn't burn going down. It doesn't burn in the mouth.
Right. See, now I like a real hot mouthfeel without burn going down. So I like burn in the mouth. I don't want it to I want to be able to hold it in there, feel some burn.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't want to feel it, I don't want to have like reflux when it's going down on the back end.
Yeah, I'm surprised. So I was in favor of this one last time, and now that I'm drinking it now, and I don't have anything in it. I mean, I've got ice. I don't do neat. It's just meh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's bad though. Like, I think for like $35, I would. What's the proof on this? Because before I make my statement,
86.
Okay. Four Roses and Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace is about the same price. 45 alcohol by volume. What is that? 90? Okay. Buffalo Trace is the same price or less than Angel's Envy. Four Roses is 80, I believe. 80 proof. I'm looking at it right here. Yeah, Four Roses is 80 proof. That's a $20 bottle, $32 bottle. $20 bottle for the Four Roses, $32 for the Buffalo Trace, $44 for the Angel's Envy. Mm-hmm. All right. I think you get a little bit more flavor out of both the Four Roses and the Buffalo Trace for cheaper. Mm-hmm. That being said, though, and I know Angel's Envy is very... People either love it or they hate it. Like,
I don't hate it. I don't love it.
Like, our friend Krishan doesn't like it.
Right.
But he likes Eagle Rare. And he likes a lot of the Buffalo Trace distilled products like I do. I've got that kind of same palate. Mm-hmm. I still like the Old Forester, which I believe is Brown Foreman, I think makes that. So it's got a little bit of a sweetness to it. Mm-hmm. And they have, so they're 86 proof. The Old Forester 86 is, I believe, 22. And their Old Forester 100, I think, is like the same price. So you can go high test or you can go low test. We got to, so next show or two shows from now, we're gonna bring out the Old Forester 86 and 100, and we're just gonna see if they were better than these.
Yeah.
Because the price point, we're under that $45 range. The Angel's Envy gets you up in that $45 range. Mm-hmm. The Four Roses in 20.
Really, at 45, I don't think it's worth it.
I'm kind of with you.
Like, I bought and killed a bottle of Johnny Drum.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of it. The guy at the liquor store was like, "Hey, check it out. It's good." Okay, I'll give it a whirl. And it was right where I wanted to be. Like the one, that fighting cock that I had before, that cheap bottle, that was, that I preferred the Johnny Drum to the Buffalo Trace. I just don't think the money for Angel's Envy is worth it. If it was falling in the $25 to $30 range, I mean, yeah, okay, it's good for that.
But then it's price competitive to Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would buy it over Buffalo Trace.
No, I buy Buffalo Trace over this. I just killed my Buffalo Trace bottle too.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, you just poured the Wild Turkey 101.
Mm-hmm. I prefer that to Angel's Envy,
and that's only $20 too.
Yeah,
and that's high tech. I mean, you could do Four Roses at 80 proof, or Wild Turkey 101 at 101 proof. Mm-hmm. Both at $20.
Yeah,
and to me, I think they're both better than the Angel's Envy. Mm-hmm. Now, look, I've said this 100 ways since Sunday. My palate is not amazing, right?
Yeah,
but from an amateur drinking person who does, I mean, I don't drink a ton of this stuff, even though I've got like fucking a ton of it. And oddly enough, for a person that doesn't drink a whole bunch, a lot of my bottles are half full. So maybe I am drinking a little more than I think, but I do prefer a little more flavor to it. Like what was my thing on that fire? What was the one you brought last time? The fire, not the fire.
Fighting cock.
Fighting cock. I thought it was a little hot, but I think I would rather have that than the Angel's Envy, just because it has a flavor to it.
Yeah,
like this is just there's no flavor to it.
But you want to feel something.
Something, yeah. I need flavor.
It was like the goths were like, I just want to feel something.
Yeah, I need
even if it's pain.
Yes. Like to me, this is like there's no taste to it. Like I put it in my mouth. I don't get much of anything. So I don't know. I'd probably pass on that. I got it because of the hype. Everyone said, "Oh, it's great, it's great." It's not bad. And I would actually say for a beginner, that's probably not a bad one to start with. I just don't think it's worth the money. I would say the Four Roses, even though it's 6 proof less, or the Buffalo Trace, which is and then like 4 proof more. I think your money's better served there. The problem is you got to find Buffalo Trace.
Yeah,
Four Roses. This is the regular Four Roses. This isn't the small batch or anything like that. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah.
For $20. So in the Wild Turkey 101, you can find it anywhere. The Uncle Nearest over by you isn't a bad one either, but I think that's the $40 range too.
Yeah.
But the 1792, also not a bad drink. I almost call it a pour. And almost would have to hurt myself.
Oh, you you stood on the brakes.
That's where that pause was right there. Like,
not a bad drink. Excuse me, sir. What's a drink?
Right. It's me slapping myself in the mouth before I say words. Yeah, I of all the, and we just named all the bourbons on this table or the whiskeys on this table. This is probably my least favorite.
Yeah,
of them all.
Yeah, I would drink all of these over the Angel's Envy. And it's not to say that Angel's Envy is terrible. Like,
it's not bad.
I'd rather drink nothing. Like, believe me, if that was the only thing that was here, I
think this is what probably most people call a good mixer.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to change the flavor of of the other ingredients.
And you can even do it in like a spirit forward cocktail, like a old fashioned, right? You'd be okay with Angel's Envy, and it's not going to hurt a drink like that.
You remember that I told you a while back? It was probably a couple months ago that we went to a restaurant and they had a really good drink, and it wasn't an old fashioned, but it was definitely it had the Angel's Envy in it, and it was the other ingredients that made it good. But the Angel's Envy, because it doesn't have too much of a flavor profile, it added the alcohol without killing the other flavors in the drink, which is why it was so delicious.
Yeah,
because it was Di Serono, simple syrup, some cherries or something like it was. I think ginger ale or something. It was something like that. But it was a very enjoyable drink. But now I kind of know why. It's because this wasn't throwing the flavor of it off. So I think our official take is we would probably pass on Angel's Envy, but if someone poured it for us, we drink it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like if it was the only thing that was there, then
Yeah, I mean you're drinking the Wild Turkey now.
Yeah.
You still like, because that one rated really high in that comparison.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's got everything I want in it. The hot mouth feel, it doesn't burn going down. So
I gotta get another bottle because that one's kicked.
Yeah, I gotta determine what I'm getting tomorrow.
I love the fact that that's $20.
Yeah,
like that's great. Yeah.
Yep. In fact, I think I might get that, and then another. Maybe something different. Maybe another bottle of that Johnny Drum. I'm still trying to build up my collection. It just doesn't work because I drink it.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do what I do.
Yeah.
Although a lot of the ones that I have that I don't drink are some of the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
Like that tin cup is going to be in there forever. The benchmark number 8, because there's other stuff on this table, I'll drink that first.
Yeah.
But, you're talking about, it's a fucking liter. Yeah, it's going to be there a while.
It's a plastic bottle.
Yeah, it's a plastic bottle. It's going to be there. It'll always be there like a comforting glove.
Right. Right.
And there's some other ones too. Like some of the ones that we got, like because we were out at like the Devil's Due guys, we bought a bottle when we were out there, so we'll have that. I mean, I got 3 bottles of the Buffalo Trace. I mean, so that's where a lot of those bottles, and like one was like a gift bottle, it was a Knob Creek 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Knob Creek 9 is there. That was one of the first bottles I had.
Yeah, like no one buys me bourbon for gifts. So if you buy me a gift, buy me bourbon. Don't get me any more polo shirts. I have enough of those. Another golf shirt. I got Scad's golf shirt. I have a golf shirt for every. I can not do laundry for 2 weeks and I wouldn't run out of them. So let's switch it up to bourbon.
And by the way, if you do want to help with the show, go to drivewaybeerspodcast.com/donate. Join us on the driveway. You can choose which level of the driveway you want to be on. And if you purchase a bottle, we will tell you which one you purchased for that amount. And we will try it on air on the show before we start.
Yeah.
We got a couple people on there. I want to thank them for that. We're going to circle back here to AI, though. And I kind of wish we had more of an IT person here. Mm-hmm. Because we're probably not that, right?
No.
We can talk as two dum-dums who, look on social media to see what's going on with AI and hear about all the bullshit that's happening. I do know this. So a lot of blog posts, articles online, a lot of people are using like ChatGPT to write parts of their website. Mm-hmm. They're using it to be the chat agent on their websites. So, for example, when you first click on that help button, you're talking to
a bot,
a bot automated agent, except now it's more sophisticated than it was before. Yeah. Most times, they're getting to the point now where the bots are able to actually troubleshoot for you. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, they only just kind of led you to the question in the FAQ section.
Yeah.
Right? Well, here, try and click here and read this article.
Yeah.
Right? Well, now they're moving towards, did you try this? Did you try that? Like, it's getting more sophisticated that way.
Yeah, I dealt with one. I thought I had some suspicious activity on my phone. So I'm not an Apple fanboy. That's just what I happen to have. So that's who I was dealing with. And it was a bot, but it felt like you were talking to a person. Like the replies were coming back, but they weren't coming back instantly. Like you could tell that something back there was processing what I was saying. Mm-hmm. But it was responding to specifically what I was saying. It wasn't, and it felt like a natural conversation, which is appreciated. However, it's an evil machine.
If it can solve my problems, though, I think there's a place for it.
But what happens when it decides to solve the problem and that problem is you?
Correct.
And that's the fear.
And I get
right?
2 to the head, right?
And people say, like, oh, well, that's unreasonable.
No, it's not.
But is it?
It's not.
Like, because at some point, so if all these wackos, I should say wackos, if all these super left-leaning people that have left-leaning ideologies are programming these, are doing this stuff, or creating these AI platforms, that's the foundation upon which they're all going to be built. So at what point does it say, you know what? People are the risk. Or what if it's Russia's bad, Russia's bad, Russia's bad, and all of a sudden the AI is like, hey, Russia's bad. I have something that can take care of Russia. Let's use these nuclear weapons to take care of Russia. And it shoots them all off. Well, then Russia's like, shit, we're going to shoot all of ours off too.
Yeah, and let's not discount the human condition to, what's the word I'm looking for? To sideline a group of people. I'm going to use a good example. Back in, I believe it was World War II, the United States government moved all Japanese Americans into internment camps. Essentially, they used a set of criteria to determine who should not have their freedom anymore. Mm-hmm. And they put them in camps, and they, quite frankly, treated them like shit. The food wasn't good. The food wasn't what they would expect according to their culture.
Yeah.
They really didn't give them much of anything to do. The living conditions were more like army barracks. Mm-hmm. And these were humans that did this. And people go, oh, well, we've evolved from that. But have we?
Have we?
And now you've got people. And the reason why I say people is because, look, yes, it's 90 to 100 years later. Well, 80. 80 years later from that. Humans did that to other humans. Humans have done unspeakable things to other humans. Well, if humans are coding this thing, who's to say one doesn't have a bone to pick with a certain group of people? And I don't care. Maybe they're not white. Maybe they're black.
Yeah.
Maybe they're Hispanic. Maybe they're Asian. But they've got a bone to pick because they were treated poorly when they were a kid by someone that looked like that. Or they've just been... their information that they get tells them that those people are bad.
Yeah. Or they bought wholesale into the oppressed narrative.
Sure. That person is now coding AI. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong, we said this before. If AI truly does learn outside of its original programming, then yes, at some point AI could unlearn that. But chances are, because that coding is already in there, it will still be there.
Yeah.
It just won't be as prominent as what the newer information that it's gotten from. And again, you're hoping that this AI is getting information from credible sources as well. Mm-hmm. The problem is you don't know where it's going to go. And I feel like there are certain people that want to put a very large importance on it. They want to deem it factual because it's a computer. Well, ChatGPT said this, so it must be true.
Right.
That's the same thing as saying, well, it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah.
Well, that became a meme.
Yeah.
So if AI said it, it must be true. Is that now the meme?
Right.
So I just don't know where it goes.
Well, so there have been a couple little glimpses. So I think it was Facebook developed these bots to do things that they didn't want to hire people to do. So they programmed all these bots to do things that, whether it was coding or repairing or patching or fixing, whatever the hell was going on. So these bots would go and do that. Well, then the bots started talking to each other to get these tasks done. Well, then the bots developed their own language that only the bots understood. The programmers had no idea what it meant. And they killed the project. They shut it down. So what happens when someone does this? Say it's a company that goes belly up and is defunct, but all this stuff is still out there. Or it's someone that's doing it and it's like, that's still over the priority. It's running just fine, just leave it alone. And then all of a sudden this thing develops and it just gets out of control. And it develops a way so it can't turn itself off.
Well, it's just like, so we said this in the beginning of the episode. Google is dropping Google Podcasts. Well, what if Google decides to just drop its AI? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't take the steps to officially
decommission it.
Correct. It's almost like you've got a nuclear power plant and you're not disposing of the nuclear waste properly.
Yeah.
You're just going to let it fester and eventually leak out and eventually kill part of the population, right? And again, a lot of this could be very far-fetched, but the problem is that this possibility exists. Mm-hmm. And if two schlubs that we know enough, we read and know enough about technology to know this is possible, but I guarantee you if we sat down with an IT expert and a coder and a programmer, they'd probably tell us this situation is 10 times worse than what we even think it is.
We think it.
And it could accelerate a lot quicker than we think it can.
Or what happens if the AI develops sentience, but it's not that smart, right?
Yep.
So it knows it exists, and it's doing shit that it thinks is good, but it's really not. So it decides that, hey, you know what? Your carbon footprint's too big, so we're going to shut you down. not understanding nuance and all these other things. It just, all it realizes that, this guy is driving his truck around a lot and he has another vehicle. So we're going to say, you know what? We're going to, and this is all like, it's dependent upon like central bank digital currency, which a lot of people want to go to. So you go to that, the AI is involved in it. It says, hey, you know what? You can't fuel your truck anymore because you really don't need to be driving that truck. You have this other car. But because it's dumb, it doesn't realize that, well, your other car is broken down, so you're using the truck because the other car is getting worked on. And that's why you're using the truck to do things you'd use the car for.
Or your own free will just says, I want to drive the fucking truck.
Yeah. Or it's wintertime, or whatever the reason is. And it says, you know what? You have this other vehicle that gets better gas mileage. We're not going to let you put gas in your truck anymore. That's just some dumb AI thing. That, like, the AI is not that bright. Like, we all know people that they're sentient human beings, but they're dumb, and they do dumb shit. What happens when the AI becomes dumb and does dumb shit?
I see all those people at the fucking kid drop-off line at my school every day.
The one that gets out of their car to put the kid in, they can't go nuts to butts in the pickup line. Like, get right up on them. Get close.
I wanted to comment on this person. I don't know who they are. All right. All I know is they drive a Tesla Model Y, so the most expensive Tesla you can. Mm-hmm. All that means is success doesn't buy you brains.
No.
Because the way she drives that fucking thing, she's a complete fucking moron. I can't stand it. Every damn day. It's like the more expensive a car you have, the worse you drive.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn. Don't get me wrong. The shit boxes, they fling them around because they don't care about them because they only cost $3,000 to replace. But these people with like the $85,000, $95,000 cars, it's just like, you can't even figure out how to drop your kid off at the damn school.
Yeah.
How the hell were you successful enough to buy that damn car?
So I picked the kids up last week. I got out of work early, so I went and I called ahead. I said, hey, I'm going to pick them up. So I go to the carpool line. And I pull around, and one of the teachers that's out there, she's like, hey, we're trying to get them close. I said, oh, we're going nuts to butts? And she stops. She said, what? I said, oh, you never heard that? Nuts to butts. It means it's like what Airborne does. They get real close as they're shuffling, like, get close, guys.
Yeah. They're ready to jump out the airplane.
I'll get close.
Yeah. There's people out there that just don't. I'm surprised. Like, I shouldn't say I'm not surprised, but I feel like nuts to butts is pretty self-explanatory.
I mean,
well, I guess if you don't have nuts, yeah, right. It's right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Nuts to butts.
But
what's the female version? Pads to vats. I don't do that. That doesn't work. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'll come up with something for the ladies.
Pussy to tushy.
Hey, it's not bad. Right.
I'm a poet. I didn't know it.
This is a podcast for the ladies. We didn't even know. We're 95% male audience. Pass it on to your wives. Fellas.
AI is going to steal it from us.
Probably.
So
bastard.
Evil AI.
And then it will kill us.
Yeah. And the thing is that, and then and that's another valid point. Like, what happens when the government starts interjecting itself? So right now, there are police agencies that are and security agencies that are using AI to monitor their camera systems, and if it notices someone doing something, it immediately sends an alert, and then it's all connected to facial recognition. You go to any major metropolitan area, pretty much every square inch of public space is covered by cameras. So then it's tracking people, and like, that's some scary stuff. Like, what happens when somewhere it gets in there that, hey, you're a bad guy, and you just did X, Y, and Z, that triggers an alert to come get people to do the AI dirty work. Because Agent Smith isn't around yet.
Yeah. That tech, by the way, don't ask how I know, but it's been around for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Now, it was shit 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The facial recognition part. But the part where it could notify... So the technology is basically geofencing. Mm-hmm. It's what it used to be. Basically, if you go into an area, the screen flashes red, and there's literally like 12 screens on the wall. Most of them are split into 4 screens already, so you got like 30 screens up there. And so the reason why it flashes red is because you only have 2 to 3 people in there monitoring all those screens, right? And to get the person's attention, it flashes red.
Yeah.
And the eyes go directly there. They can call on someone, and within like 3 to 5 minutes, an officer would be there.
Yeah.
Then they added in the facial recognition. And the facial recognition was shit as of probably 10 to 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. As of about 5 years ago, it got a lot better. But again, it's only as good as the data it has. So, for example, if you've never been booked into like a police station and gotten a mugshot, facial recognition probably ain't going to help. Although, if it's tied into the DMV and you have a driver's license, well, now you're back in the radar.
Yeah.
So basically, it's kids that aren't in the system.
Yeah.
Any adult that has a driver's license or any kind of ID is probably in the system.
Mm-hmm. And the thing I don't buy is people will say, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. Which to me is just a preposterous argument because the government's good. Governments are only really good at two things. Imprisoning its citizens is one, and killing its citizens is the other. That's what government's really good at. So you're going to go and voluntarily submit yourself to an apparatus that's really only good at two things. So, if you're not doing anything wrong, you have to worry about. If you're involved in it at all, and just in a passing involvement, you have something to worry about. And that's the whole thing. Like, why would you want to give the government that kind of power? You know, we're supposed to be in a limited government. That's the whole idea behind this country. But let's go let it have AI-powered facial recognition bots.
There's not one government on this planet who hasn't abused the power the people have given it.
Right.
Not one. I mean, it's literally batting 1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, could you possibly have a good AI that's like, wait, according to the own rules that you people have set forth, you're not supposed to be doing anything like this, and it shuts it all down.
So you're assuming that the solution is to shut it down.
Or
not to kill the people that are in charge.
Right.
Right? Like, you don't know which direction the solution goes into for this thing, right?
Yeah.
We're just guessing. You know, like you said, like, let's say the carbon footprint of America is too high. Okay, well, let's say its solution is to reduce the American population by 25%.
Right.
And
That's
it doesn't care which 25% go, it just goes after the 25% most polluting people, which is probably the richest people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now you don't like it, right? Well, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, unless the person or persons programming this thing are super altruistic, which I don't know if that exists. I mean, look, as much as I think Elon Musk buying Twitter was a great thing because he exposed a lot of the government programs. To me, he's essentially what Edward Snowden was with the surveillance program. Mm-hmm. He basically showed through those Twitter files that the government was surveilling social media in secret and on everyone and anyone. And it ran across different administrations. If people thought it was just Joe Biden that did this, they're fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It didn't just start under Joe Biden. Who knows how long ago that shit started? It probably started as soon as they could collect data on people.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit could have been going back to Clinton. Although, was Facebook around for Clinton?
No.
Was it? Early times, maybe.
Facebook started under
Was it Obama?
Bush 2.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So, which, by the way, his father was one of the masterminds of the CIA. So go put two and two together with that.
It's funny how everyone likes to shit on Putin. He's KGB. It's like, well, Bush 1 was like the same thing, just our version of it.
He was literally the head of the CIA.
Yeah.
Go figure that shit out. And the Bush's family going back, they played both sides of World War II, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Basically, any winner was a winner in their book because they were going to be fine.
One of my favorite, Mr. Burns, You always go back to The Simpsons.
Of course.
When he's comparing himself to Schindler. He's like, we both made shells for the Nazis, except mine worked, damn it. But they were all playing both sides. World War I was even worse.
Yeah.
Like, there was talk, like, who were we making more money off of? And they were making more money. They were making money off both of it, you know, because at that time it was like the robber barons, like unbridled, just, you know, unregulated capitalism. Like, yeah, we can sell. The longer we sell bombs to both sides, the more money we make.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of shit people in history, and I don't think that just because this technology is so cool in a lot of respects, that some asshole isn't going to create one or create a few of them, and it's just going to be fucking shit.
Yeah.
I don't trust any of these assholes.
No. And then maybe our only hope is the good AI comes up and it's like, wait, these people are all assholes. Hey, this document you guys wrote in the Constitution, that was pretty cool. Let's
now you're talking about the Clone Wars.
Yeah, let's.
They got robots. We got robots.
Right. Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? AI is like, fuck you, censorship, government, oppress, control everything. People are shutting that shit down, and then the cool AI takes over, and it's possible, right?
Anything's possible with this because nobody knows where it's going to go.
Or it's the Terminator or the Matrix or the T-1000.
I'm pretty sure it ends in us all dying. It's going to kill us all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either that or the aliens.
I mean, we'll probably be dead before it happens.
Oh, by far.
I mean,
I probably got 20 years left.
Yeah, the over/under on this.
Yeah, come on now. I'm 40. I'm 45. I think I'm 45. Maybe I think I turned 45 this year or 46. I don't even fucking know how old I am. I probably got the over/under on me is 65.
Yeah.
I'm probably betting even like right at 65. So I guess I got to call it 64 and a half.
Yeah.
So I'll bet the over on myself. 65. That's where I'm good for. 20 more years.
Anything past that, you're playing with house money.
I mean, technically, I'm playing with house money already. Let us know what you think. Where do you think AI is going? Do you think we're going to have the white knight that really creates an altruistic AI that we can all trust and use and be happy with? Or do you think Mark Zuckerberg is the devil and he's going to create his AI and we're all going to die from it because he loves money? Him and Jeff Bezos just going to kill us. Let us know what you think. Where do you think AI is going? Who do you trust to code it? Or do you not trust anybody to code it? Let us know what you think. Because it's coming. Appreciate you listening. Go check out Adam Chubbuck at techmd.com. A Chubbuck Realtor on Instagram. He posts some really good videos there. Has some good life advice, good real estate advice. Go check him out. We'll talk to you again real soon.